Hello, hello. Welcome to What's Working Now. Today, we are talking about real estate, God, coaching, creating. We are talking about how you can build confidence, clarity, and community. We are here with the awesome and the amazing Ken Joslin. Ken, welcome to the show.
What's up, girl? How are you doing? I'm a little jealous when I found out you lived in Puerto Rico and I'm stuck in Birmingham, Alabama today.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you because you are a man who is passionate about empowering leaders, helping them build confidence, clarity, community. And you have your own podcast, by the way, which I should make sure everybody understands. It's called As the Leader Grows, which is also the name of your book. And I really want to dive into this. I feel like leaders need help and support, confidence, clarity, and direction now, today, more than ever. And so I really want to dive into that. And so for people to really understand your unique perspective and how you approach all of this, tell us the story of an experience that has really formed and shaped that perspective that you have.
Yeah. Man, grew up, I'll give you two all the way up till I was about 25 years old. Grew up, parents got divorced when I was 8. Mom moved us from Detroit area to the Atlanta area when I was 8 years old, second grade. From my 6th grade year to my senior year of high school, I moved to my dad's 6 different times with the 12 schools in 12 years, 6 different high schools. So I was pinging consistently throughout that time. Went in the Air Force after I graduated high school, spent 3.5, 4 years in the Air Force, came home back to Atlanta area, 25 years old, gave my life to Christ. Didn't grow up in church, didn't know anything about God, didn't know anything about that. I spent half of the last 25 years in full-time vocational ministry, pastoring churches, planting churches. And just really my mission in life is to help connect people with purpose, like help them, number one, discover the depth of the purpose that God's created on the inside of them. And then what does that look like for me to live out that purpose? And so people ask me all the time, they say, do you miss pastoring? Because the other half of the 25 years I've been in real estate, top performing mortgage broker in Georgia for about 7 or 8 years, then top producing real estate. I've done over $300 million in real estate transactions and closed loans myself. And then people say, do you miss pastoring? And I'm like, man, I pastor more people now that would never come, would never set foot in my church on Sunday. And some very high level people. We've got a mastermind that I run with a lot of 8, 7, and 8 figure earners. I've got a guy who's a billionaire that's a really good friend of mine who sold 11 companies to Warren Buffett for $8 billion. He's a part of our mastermind. He'll be in Scottsdale next week. And so just being able to get that many people in the room to help them become the best version of themselves, man, I'm having a blast.
I love it. I love it. Ken, that's really interesting because as you described your upbringing, your youth, ping-ponging around between your mom's and dad's house, going to all of these different schools, I can only imagine how disconnected you must have felt at a really young age. So where did you start to develop this ability to be a connector? Because before you and I even started recording this episode, you're like, oh, I got all these buddies there and I'm going to connect you with all my friends in Puerto Rico. And I can just tell that's really in you. And yet you had this potentially disconnected youth. So where did you start to develop that?
I don't know if that was a survival mechanism. I'm not sure 100% where that went. I was always the kid in the neighborhood. Like when we played football in the neighborhood or baseball or whatever we did, basketball, I was always the one that put them together. I was always the one that was calling, hey, go knock on this door, get John, get Craig, get, Chris down the street, get Charles, get Chris Mumpa, go get the guys. Okay, we're going to play on Sunday at 1:00 here. I was always the guy putting all that stuff together. And I think it just came natural. I just think that, I guess it was better than sitting at home on Sunday afternoon with nothing to do. And then, I think when you move and you're in as many different environments as I was growing up, you learn to adapt really quick. And I think I learned some skills growing up that maybe some, kids miss out on. It was there were some parts of that were traumatic. But I think for the most part, man, I really learned how to add value and really care for people. And the biggest question I get all the time is, Ken, how do you get around the people that you get around? Because I have some amazing, amazing friends. I've got some amazing people in my mastermind, in our community. I've got a text thread with 6 guys that, 4 of those guys are 8-figure earners. They're making $1 million a month. It's just very, very high level guys, and they all love God. They're all equally amazing human beings. And when people ask me that question, I tell them great leaders want something for people, not from people. Like, can you have relationships and not want something from people? Because in this world we live in, you do it. This is what you do. You know, we live in this Instagram world where everybody's puts on the front of what they are when they're really not, number one. And then they want something. I literally just got a text from my buddy right 15 minutes ago asking me about an event that somebody that I know is putting on. He goes, is this for real? And I said, yeah, it's for real. If you want to get pitched and sold to the whole time and you want to walk out and spend 15 to 20 grand, yes, it's real. If that's what you're looking for, you know, so we live in that world. But I think if you live a life where you want something for people, not from people, it's amazing what God can do through you and the relationships he'll bring in your life.
I love this. As you're in this conversation with so many exceptional leaders, I'm guessing that there's probably a lot of trends that you're starting to see amongst what's going on in the mind and the heart of leaders, CEOs, entrepreneurs today. What are some of the common threads that you're seeing?
Yes, I'm working on a book right now. I don't know if we're going to call it Championship Keys or Championship Mindset. You know, it's going to have something to do around champions, because really our tagline for our mastermind is we gather champions. And one of the things that I see throughout, there are constants throughout all these guys and women. And one is champions don't negotiate. Like, they don't negotiate with themselves when they have goals, and they set, I don't care if it's faith goals, health goals, relationship goals, business goals, or financial goals. That's our core 5 that we talk about all the time. I don't care what goal you set in those areas. High achievers and people that are knocking it out of the park, they don't negotiate with themselves. Like, when I get up, my alarm clock goes off at 4. I don't negotiate whether or not I'm going to the gym. I've dropped 82 pounds in 2.5 years. I'm on the way to losing 106 pounds. Like, I don't negotiate with myself. I don't negotiate with myself when it comes to, am I going to write my goals down twice a day? My goals, gratitude, affirmations, and top 3 every morning. No, I don't negotiate with myself. So I think that's one thing, is they don't negotiate. I would say the second thing is, champions are consistent every single day. I literally have a watermarked incremental, not monumental. That's a concept I created about 1.5 to 2 years ago. Small daily disciplined decisions over time always equal monumental results. Success cannot escape you when you do the right things every single day. And when I get around high performing leaders, both men and women, they really lean into that incremental, not monumental concept and understand the power of consistency and the power of showing up every single day.
When I think about this kind of an entrepreneur, this leader, this CEO, and getting into that, taking daily action, what can happen sometimes is this almost addiction to work, right? And this hustle, grind mentality, which can produce results for a time. And, you know, you and I live in a very busy world. And how do you manage the potential chaos that can be thrown at you? Because when you're in contact with as many people as you are, Ken, and you're being scheduled for speaking at events, you're on podcasts, your day can be back to back to back to back. So how do you stay grounded, stay centered, and ensure that you're staying focused on the goals and objectives that you have, and not just get pulled in everybody else's direction?
Number one, great leaders know how to say no. They know how to say no when they need to say no. I'm not very good at saying no. I'm just not. I mean, I believe the best in people, and sometimes that costs me. My best friend Nate goes, dude, you always lead with your heart. You just always lead with your heart. And I'm like, I don't know how to do it any other way. It's just who God wired and created me to be. But I think sometimes you got to learn to say no. For me also, it goes back to my core values, and it goes back to my core 5. Faith, health, relationships, business, and finances, in that order. If I've got my faith life down, which my morning routine is rock solid. I'm up at 4 a.m., between 4 and 5 a.m., depending on what day of the week it is. Excuse me, between 4 and 5 a.m. I go straight to my phone. I'm listening to some worship song. I've got it. Every single day on my Instagram page, every single morning without fail, I screenshot it. I put it on there. I put a little bit of 15-second music clip of whatever I'm listening to on there. I go straight over to my YouVersion Bible app, whatever reading plan I'm in, I do it. And then as soon as I screenshot it, and I send it straight to my group of 5 other guys that I mentioned to you just a minute ago on my text thread. Hey guys, good morning. This morning it was, hey guys, good Tuesday morning. Let's go crush it today. So they see that I'm doing it. I hold myself accountable. before I go to bed, I've got a seating area, my master bedroom. My workout clothes are laid in my chair. My tennis shoes are laying in the floor. My pre-workout's already mixed up in the refrigerator. So as soon as I get up, the first thing I do is try not to fall down the stairs, because I'm trying to wake up still. I walk straight downstairs.
Sure.
I grab my pre-workout. I put a big block. I've got big cubed ice. I put a block cube of ice. I start drinking on the way upstairs, brush my teeth, get dressed, sit down, goals, gratitude, affirmations, top 3 every morning. Like those things aren't negotiable. And John Maxwell says, John's been a friend for 20 years. He speaks at my conference every year. John says, show me your daily schedule and I'll tell you how successful you're going to be, period.
Love it.
That's how it works. But I think that's the thing is how do you know if you're doing what you're supposed to do to take care of what God's called you to do? It's that core 5, faith, health. How am I handling my health journey? Am I in the gym every single day? The first thing I did 2.5 years ago, my goal was 66 pounds. And the first thing I did was I took a picture of myself and I posted on my social media and said, I'm going to lose 66 pounds because I've got 30,000 followers. I mean, I can't, what am I going to do? Go back on doing what I said I was going to do? I can't do that. Like you can talk about instant accountability. Like it's right there. Told my community, there's 3 spheres of influence I talk about a lot. Community, circle, corner. Those are all relationships. Community's a large group. For us, it's GSD. For some, it's 10X. For whatever community you belong to. Circle, 10 or 12 people you spend the most time with. And your corner is the handful of guys, 2 or 3 guys that have a 10,000 foot view of your life that know everything about you. Like I put it out to those guys. This is what I'm going to do. This past week, I took my daughter out. We got all dolled up, black tie. We just looked super sharp. We went to nice dinner downtown and she goes, Dad, let's go to Topgolf. So we went to Topgolf. And I just played. I don't play golf. I've never been very good. We go to Topgolf. Yeah. I just start I'm crushing it right down the middle with the driver. And I'm like, oh my God, where did this come from? So what did I do? Sunday, I said, you know what? I'm gonna start playing golf. So I literally went Sunday, got fitted for clubs. I spent $3,000 like a knucklehead. I spent $3,000. And so then I'm out. And here's for those of you guys that are listening on audio, you're not gonna be able to see it. I literally went out and started hitting golf clubs. So I set a goal for this year in the next 12 months. Okay. For me, I sent this to my team in the next 12 months. Listen, I want to shoot in the 80s. I want to shoot in the low 80s in the next 12 months. That's a goal for me. So I sent it to my guys. So in those core 5, are you going after those core 5 every single day?
Something that I'm noticing with you is you're very intentional about defining what it is that you're doing, why you're doing it. And something you brought up multiple times is your calling. How would you say, first of all, how do you describe and articulate your calling? And then what were things that you did to really get to that place where you had it fully defined and you understood it to the point where it was actionable for you?
I think number 1, in the process, you've got to learn to enjoy the journey. Like your calling, your why, Simon Sinek, you'll call it your why, your purpose. It's not a destination. It's every single day. Like it's literally every day. God, every day I write in my planner. My quote of the day is, what doors can I open for others today? My good friend, Casey Graham, who's a CEO of a company, they're going to go public. He'll probably sell it for $1 billion in the next 2 to 5 years in Atlanta. Known Casey for 15 years. He did a LinkedIn article on this. He said he was at a restaurant and he held the door open for somebody. He talked about how they picked up their pace and they picked up their speed. There was intention in what they did. And he goes, all because I opened the door for them. I said, oh my God, that's so good. I called him on the phone and said, bro, that's one of the best articles I've ever read. So what's my quote every day? What doors can I open for others today? Because when you open a door, I don't have to motivate them or stoke them. When I open a door and they see an opportunity, boom, they pick their head up, their speed picks up, their excitement picks up, their passion picks up. So how do I do it every day? Man, what doors can I open for other people today? How can I connect? Who can I connect today? Like when I meet you and Tori connected us, I'm thinking, okay, who does she need to know? Like I literally, when I meet people for the first time, I'm like, who does this person need to know? Who does this person? Gary Brecka is one of my really good friends. He's partners with Grant Cardone and 10X Health Systems. Gary and Sage are part of my mastermind. Gary, somebody texted me the other day about their daughter and about some kind of physical thing she's going through. And I said, have you done Gary's genetic test yet? Like you need to meet Gary. You need to Gary just literally just got through working with Dana White from UFC. Dana's going on all these podcasts. Gary's going to be on Joe Rogan's podcast in 2 weeks. Like
Mhm.
you just can't get in touch with Gary. And I'm like, dude, you need to know him. Like, how can I get him connected? And I think when you live your life in service of other people, and the question was, how do you know what your calling is? I think when you do
Yeah.
it, you lay your head down on the pillow at nighttime and you feel this overwhelming sense of fulfillment that a comma or another zero in your bank account's not going to give you. It's not going to give you that. I don't care what you've been there. I mean, like, you live in Paris, like, it's great and it's freedom,
Mhm.
but it doesn't give
Mhm.
you that sense of fulfillment when you go to bed at night. And I think when you're helping
Right.
people and you lay down at the end of the day and it's just you and God, whatever that looks like for you in your faith journey, I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks
Yeah.
like for you, higher power, Jesus, whatever that looks like, when you lay your head down on the pillow at nighttime and you're like, dude, that's how you live a day. Like, and you feel that overwhelming sense of fulfillment. You can't put a price tag on that.
Amen, Ken. So good. I mean, a big part
I
of your
preached a
business,
few
you're in
times
the
if you can't tell.
a big part of your business is you're in real estate, and we
Mhm.
can't deny the fact that interest rates are on the rise, and
Mhm.
that market is shifting drastically. And, you know, yet at the same time, I believe that during times of volatility, there's tremendous opportunity. So what are some of the opportunities that you're seeing specifically for people who are in the real estate industry, who are feeling the impact of the rise of interest rates? What are some of the things that you're seeing?
Yeah. So I mentioned off air, my buddy Brent Gove he's one of the top guys at EXP, 35,000 agents in his organization, does a large conference in Dallas every year called Build, 4,400 agents. Tony Robbins. Tony came in and did the last half of the day on Thursday. Blew me away. First time I ever heard Tony in person. And I was just like, oh my God, this dude's amazing. But one of the things that Tony said on the stage was, like, this market that we're in right now is not a down market. It's an average market. Where we've been the last 2 or 3 years is what we in the South, we call shooting fish in a barrel. Anybody can become a real estate agent and make 6 figures.
Yeah.
It's just easy. Now you actually have to work to go make money. You have to actually take care of people. You have to actually add value to your clients. You actually have to have some kind of a system and strategy to touch and make sure you're staying in contact with your clients. But how do you take advantage of this? What's going to happen is all the people that are like, oh my God, I want to be a real estate agent, or I want to do multifamily. In my mastermind, I've got multifamily guys, I've got lenders, I've got everything. And what's going to happen is a lot of the people that are just in there to do it, quote unquote, part-time and make, 60, 70, 80, 100 grand a year, they're not going to be in it anymore because it's going to affect them. The real professionals that are in the field. I mean, I went through the 07, 08, and this is nothing like that was. This is, I don't know, 5% of what we went through in 08. This is very small. It's just, you're just going to have to work for it now. It's just, you're going to have to learn how to add value and to honor people. And when you take care of people and you honor people and you really want something for them, and you approach every client that you have from a relational standpoint and not a transactional standpoint, you'll make more money than you ever want to make. The money is endless when you do that with clients, and you're consistent and you do that over time.
We're not in an average market, we're not in a down market. We're in an average market. And that just means, you're going to have to work, and you're actually going to have to add value.
When Tony said that on stage, I'm like, I've been doing this for 25 years. He's absolutely right. I mean, before, you could wake up and fall out of bed and make 100 grand doing real estate. You just can't do that now. Interest rates are up, but what's happening is, so when people go, oh my God, interest, I was a top mortgage broker in Georgia 4 years in a row, number one wholesale for Countrywide and SunTrust 4 years in a row for both of them. So, I mean, I've seen rates. I mean, when I did my own house in like 06, the last one I think I bought, 03, whatever it was, I think my rate was like 6 1/8 or 5.875 or something like that. Like, now there's sevens. They're going to come back down. I mean, it's part of it's the market. It's cyclical. So you understand that. So now I actually have to do some work. It's just not, nobody's spoon feeding me deals because it's just not there. But as the interest rates go up, what you're seeing the housing prices decline. So really those things will even out and level out probably sometime after the election. That's almost always how that works out.
Love it. one of the things you're known for is for helping people to build their confidence. What would you say are like the first 2 or 3 steps somebody can take who feels like, I would like to increase my confidence. I want to be like Ken. I want to be able to network and add value and be on stages. So how would you begin to help that person move out of that place of maybe lacking the confidence in themselves and really move into this place of confidence?
Yeah. So my daily routine when it comes to my planner that I showed you just a minute ago is goals, gratitude, affirmations, top 3 every morning. Every morning I write my goals down. Every morning I do my mirror work and my gratitude in the mirror with me. I do my 5 affirmations. I write my affirmations down and I write my
Can you
top 3.
share like some examples of
Yeah,
affirmations?
I have
for
5
people?
affirmations. Number 1 is I have a millionaire
Okay.
mindset. I literally look in the mirror and I
Love
go,
it.
Ken Joslin, you have a millionaire mindset. Even when I don't feel like it. Ken, you will live a life where your heart, head, and relationships are in alignment. And people go, what does
Wait,
that mean?
Ken, we're on Starlink and every now and then I get a little bit of a lag.
No, you're
So
good.
you were, you said, I look myself in the mirror and I say it again.
So my first affirmation is I have a millionaire mindset. So my second one is I will live a life where my heart, my head, and my relationships are in alignment. This is why this is so important. My heart's where I dream. It's where my vision, it is the factory that God created in us to be able to be a creator. It's where we see you move to Palmas del Mar. It's where we see I'm going to build a business. I'm going to sell it. Dadgummit, I'm moving to Puerto Rico and living on the beach. Like you're painting that picture for you and your family. Unfortunately, your head is where your belief system is located. And if you struggle with limited beliefs, like we all do, in the definition of a limiting belief is something that prohibits you from seeing the potential of your future. It robs your ability to be able to paint the picture. So if your heart and your head aren't in alignment, your heart's going to have all these dreams, all these hopes, all these things I want to do. And your head's going to be like, hell no, we can't do that. There's no way. You're not qualified. You're not gifted enough. You don't look good enough. You're not a great communicator. It'll give you all the reasons why you can't do what your heart says you want to do. But as you begin to work on your mindset, by identifying, removing, and replacing limiting beliefs like fear, insecurity, scarcity, comparison, shame, and success. Those are the 6 I teach on a lot. Like when you begin to identify those 6 limiting beliefs and you identify and how you remove and replace is through the power of affirmations. Like literally one of my therapists, I get in the mirror every day. My first thing I do with my mirror work is, Ken, I love you. Dude, I love you. And I'm telling you, I'll do it on my phone. I'll do it here at my desk. I'll do it in my mirror. I'll do it in my car when I'm on the way to the gym at 4:30 in the morning. I get so fired up by number 6 or 7. I'm freaking fist bumping myself. I'm like, dude, I love you. Dude, I love the way you take care of people. Dude, I love the way you serve people. I love the way you want something for people. And I get to 10 and I'm like, dude, you're the greatest dude on the freaking planet. Are you kidding me? And then I walk through my affirmations. So I will live a life where my heart, head, and relationships are in alignment. When you get your heart and your head in alignment, what's going to start happening is you're going to start seeing things come to fruition. And when things start coming to fruition, you're going to watch God begin to place people in your lives. It is the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen in the last year. Literally 2 months ago, I'm on a call with now a really good friend. I was on the phone with him this morning. A really good friend sold 11 companies to Warren Buffett for $8 billion in 2018, and then served for 3 years as the CEO for Berkshire Hathaway Automotives for Warren, 11,000 employees and $11 billion a year company. Vic was the CEO. I've got a 15-minute call with him a month ago on my calendar that turns into an hour-and-a-half phone call. And he goes, dude, what can I do for you? I said, Vic, I don't need anything from you. No, man, I want to do, Ken, I want to do, this guy buys $200 million. He just bought a company 3 weeks ago for $192 million. He called me the week after we had a phone call and says, and I'm flying to Dallas to do a TV show, New York to speak to my buddy's top 100 franchisees around the country. And then I'm flying home 2 days. He texts me, I'm in the plane. He goes, hey, can you come to my place in Whitefish, Montana this weekend? Well, of course I can. So I went and hung out with him for 3 days at his place in Whitefish, Montana. And so when you start seeing all of these things come to pass, it's amazing the relationships God brings in your life. And I told him, I said, Vic, I don't want anything from you, man. There's nothing I need from you. And he goes, dude, I really want to do something. I said, I tell you what you can do. Come to my mastermind in Scottsdale, November the 1st through the 4th. And just come and hang out and be around. One of my guys on my text thread, Randy Garn. Randy is on Tony Robbins' board. He's best friends with Dean Graziosi. Randy's one of my best friends. I was at Ed Milet's house with him last week in Palm Springs. And I said, dude, just come hang out with these guys and spend time and just meet the people that I know. And he goes, well, how much is your mastermind? It's not like $300 a week, is it? I said, no, it's 40 grand a year. Like, it's a pretty significant investment. And he goes, I'm there. And literally texted me this morning. He said, dude, I'm flying. I'll be there on Monday. And I'm staying until Wednesday night. Awesome. So when you in that affirmation, heart, head, and relationships are in alignment. 3 more. I honor and respect those I love most. My actions will be a true reflection of my heart. Like, when I have people in my life, I'm going to honor them, and I'm going to do that through my actions. I am whole. I choose to use past pain to help others find healing. So anytime you hit a roadblock, and we all do, anytime you hit a roadblock where there's pain and things in your life, you go, okay, God, how can I turn this, and how can I use this to help others find freedom? And then my last one is, I am enough because I am his child. And so every one of those hit some kind of limiting belief in my mind and help me raise my mindset every single day. And when I do that, it's why we're 2.5 years old. We're a multi-7-figure company. And this year we're going after 5.192 million in revenue in 2.5 to 3 years. And I've got guys like Vic who are going, I mean, literally, he walked me through, he just bought this company 3 weeks ago. He walked me through 192 million. He walked me through what he's going to do in this company with his team. He buys companies all the time. I'm going to do this. And in 3 years, I'm going to sell this company for 450 to 500 million. I'm going to walk with $120 million. And here's what I'm going to do. And he goes, dude, I want you to come out to Dallas. I want to get on a whiteboard with my team, and I want to help you scale your company to 25 million in 3 years. I'm like, okay. Why? Because I didn't ask him for anything. I didn't want anything from him. He sees the impact that we're having and the life change that we're causing on the people in our community, on the people that come to our conference, and in the people that are coming to our mastermind. And he's like, dude, I want to help you. And I'm telling you, when you do that and you don't have ulterior motives of how can I sell you? How can I pitch you? How can I do this? And you really want the best for other people. Literally, you can't print money at your house as easy as it is for the revenue to come in when you start really taking care of people.
Ken, this is the magic formula. Like, when your actions are aligning with your thoughts and your heart, and you become this magnet, and as you move forward with your intention focused on serving others, pointing people towards God or Christ, whatever that is for you. But when you move through the world in that way, you become this magnet for goodness, greatness, and you attract these individuals who are like throwing themselves at you to continue to get behind your mission and your purpose. And you don't have to go chasing after people.
Do you know how hungry people are for authentic right now? They're sick and tired of the Instagram person who rents a jet. They're sick and tired of, and I did this with a friend of mine. I just spoke to him this morning. He took one of my best friends who lives in Calabasas. Jeff's got a $700,000 Rolls Royce Phantom convertible that he bought from Floyd Mayweather. And my buddy took pictures in it and then put them up on his social media stuff like it was his car. I'm like, dude, like, that's not your car. You got a brand new vet, go take pictures in it. You got a $200,000 ski boat, go take pictures in it. Like, the world is starving for people that just come off and go, dude, this is how authentic and real I am. I literally, until 6 months ago, two of my guys, Randy and Jeff, I'm at Jeff's house for a couple of days, and they're like, I had some life change, some moments happen life-wise, and they're like, dude, go do something for yourself. I'm like what? Like, what? I mean, I've got a nice watch. I don't care. Those things don't move the needle for me anymore. And they're like, I drove a Honda Civic Sport. They're like, go buy a car. I'm like, I like my Honda. they're like, dude, go buy a car. So I literally, I searched for a month, and I was sending them. I was like, dude, I like this Range Rover. They're like, go get it. So I went and bought a Range Rover. But like, and again, the Range Rover doesn't equal fulfillment. And people, I think right now, man, they're just looking for the authentic. They're looking for the genuine. They're like, put me around people who don't want something for me. They just want to help me become the best version of myself. And when you find people, you want to be with them and around them and do life with them.
Yeah. I'm curious how you bring this into your mastermind. I've been a part of many masterminds, and sometimes what can happen when you get a room full of really exceptional, high achieving people, it's like posturing on steroids. It's like nobody can share their discomfort, their vulnerability. And it's, it's all about adding value, but doing it in a way where it's very posturing. So how do you bring this real connection, real communication, authentic relationships to your masterminds? Like, how do you facilitate that as the leader in that group?
I'm very protective of our culture. Number one, I've turned people away. 40 grand a year and you turn them away. You better freaking believe I do. Because I'm like, no, dude, you're not a fit. So Randy brought in a guy named Steve to our mastermind on Thursday night, just for dinner one night. It was our last night in Sundance. We do them once a quarter. Steve's business did about 118 million last year. He just bought his first jet. He's a single guy. He's 35 years old. He's a multimillionaire. And as a matter of fact, I rode back with them on the jet from Ed Milet's last week in Palm Springs back to Salt Lake City with the guys. And we came in. I do a thing on Thursday night called it's just a gratitude exercise. It's where we just popcorn gratitude back and forth. Where I just look and I go, you know what, Randy, dude, I'm grateful for you because you always hold me accountable. You listen to God. And in those moments where I need extra encouragement, dude, you're always there to text me. And then Randy pings off the room and he goes off the 2.5 hours. We did that. Tears, laughter, hugs, high fives. I mean, it's magical what goes on in the room. Well, the only person that hadn't went at the end of the day was Steve, because nobody really, I'd met Steve once. So Randy goes, hey guys, this is my buddy Steve. He's here tonight. I invited him for dinner. Steve, this is what I'm grateful for you. And so he did that. And Steve just goes, guys, I'm just going to be really honest with you. He goes, I'm part of the 3 top masterminds in the country. Tiger 21, you have to have a $10 million net worth to be involved in. War Room and Board of Advisors. Through the 100 million, War Room and then 100 million mastermind that Dan Fleischman, my friend Dan, does. He goes, dude, I've never seen anything like this in my life. He goes, there is no ego in the room. We have 5 8-figure earners in the room, 5, and a couple dozen 7-figure earners. He goes, there is 0 ego in this room. This is what he said. And this is why I was laughing when you said that. He goes, every mastermind I go to, when somebody has a mic, they spend the first 2 minutes talking about how amazing they are. He goes, all I've experienced in this mastermind is you guys talking about how amazing each other are. Like there's no ego. And I literally, I am so careful at who comes into that culture. And it's big enough now. We've got about 50, 55 people that'll be with us next week. It's large enough now to where even if somebody like that did come in, they're not going to make it, because the people that are in it are like, no, we love what we've got going on. So we're just super careful of that culture. And it is, somebody asked me a couple weeks ago, they were like, they said, can you get on a call with a friend of mine who wants to be a part of it and explain it to him? I said, dude, I can't explain it to him. That's like me trying to explain what Joost Van Dyke in BVI looks like to a guy who's been blind his whole life. I can't tell you how clear the water is or how white the sand is. I can't tell you that. You have to experience it. But once you're in that kind of culture, you're like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. And that's why people like Gary Brecka, who was, like I said, partners with Grant Cardone, was just in Abu Dhabi this week for the UFC fight, right behind Dana White, sending me videos in our text thread, guys, videos of what's going on. It's why when I did my mastermind pitch at my conference last year in Atlanta, Gary gets up on stage with me and goes, hey guys, I treat 55 clients one-on-one, period. I have no idea where Gary's going, right? He goes, Grant Cardone's one of them, David Beckham, the Kardashians. He's been on their show twice in the past several months. And he goes, anybody that joins a mastermind with Ken and I'm going to personally oversee your health journey for the next 12 months. I looked at him and I said, what did you just say? And he goes, I'm going to personally oversee your health journey for the next 12 months. Like, who does that? Like, that's not normal in the environment that we live in the self-help space. But when you get people like that who live as servant leaders and they understand the power of servanthood and wanting something for people, not from people, dude, it's magical. It literally is magical.
For somebody who's listening to this and they're really resonating with what you're talking about, the power of networking and sharing and the abundance of connecting people and like this idea of being a group leader in some form,
Mhm.
what are some things that they could do to start to take action on that and start to form and create a group similar to what you're talking about?
Yeah, just add value to people. It's just a community. You're building a community. You're building a circle. Add value to people. Don't want anything in return. I think obviously there has to be a revenue component. If you're doing it for a living, there's got to be a revenue component, and that's fine. I mean, literally, we've raised my community. I started it 2.5 years ago. We started at $997 a year, went to $1997, went to $29.97. And about 2 or 3 months ago, we just took it to $59.97. It's $6K a year. I do 2 coaching calls a week. I've got 3 courses online: mindset, strategy, leadership development, private Facebook group that we run challenges through all year long. And dude, I can't keep people away at $6,000 a year. So you've got to be able, there's got to be a revenue component to it when you do it for a living. But I would just say, just add value to people. Like, one thing I do every single day, I did it this morning, I did it yesterday, I do it every day. I've got my Facebook, I'm capped, I've got 5,000 friends. I go through my birthday list every day and I type in happy birthday, boom, happy birthday, boom, happy birthday. I have a shortcut on my Apple products. HB space, boom, it types happy birthday out, ... exclamation point. And I go through every day and I wish people happy birthday. It's just adding value to people. And when you do that, never fails. Every week I get a couple people go, dude, Ken, I know you're busy. Thank you for taking time. If it's happy anniversary, yesterday was, I don't remember who's, and I saw it and I shot them a text. This morning, I shot another friend a text. Hey, happy birthday. She's an agent in Atlanta. At 8:32 a.m. last week, she shot me a text back, said thank you with a little smiley face. Like when it's who you are, and it may not be who you are, but it can be who you become. But you have to be consistent at it. And it is one of the greatest compliments I ever got. I was in Grant's mentorship group, about 1,400 of us, and I've spoke down there for Grant twice down at 10X headquarters. And we were on a call one night and he said, we'll give you homework. He's only asked 5 people this week to describe you in 1 sentence. So I text him and Jared and I say, hey, I got a question. So he unmutes me. He goes, preacher. He calls me preacher. He goes, preacher, what you got? And I said, hey, G, this guy named Grant Cardone gave me some homework. I'm supposed to ask 5 people to describe me in 1 sentence. And I said, since you and Elaine are sitting there, will you be my first 2? And he just starts laughing. And he thinks this a minute. He looks up and he goes, dude, you always show up. Every time I have an event, you're sitting on front row. Every time I'm online, I see you. Every time I get online, you're doing something. Everywhere I look, there is Ken Joslin. You are consistent and you always show up. You got to show up. You got to show up.
I love it.
Even when you don't feel like it.
How do you mentioned before we hopped on and started recording, you mentioned you have kids and I think you said the youngest is 14. You guys are going for sushi tonight.
Yeah.
Somebody who's committed to their business and serving at such a high level like you are and connected to so many people, I see people make a mistake where they get so engrossed in that life, in that world, that they're not always available for their kids and don't always have time for their family. So how do you balance these 2 worlds? What does that look like?
I go right back to my core 5: faith, health, relationships, business, and finances. Faith and health come first, relationships come third, and then my business and my finances come after that. And one of the things I teach a lot is when you get those first 3 components down, when you get your faith journey where you want it, or you're constantly improving in all 5. You get your health journey, you're constantly improving. Your relationships get better if you get those first 2 areas we're in moving in alignment. And then once those first 3 areas in alignment, the second 2 areas are just, it's almost organic, right? If you got your faith and your health and your relationships in alignment, what's going to happen? The business is just going to grow because people are going to be around you. People are going to be drawn to you. Gary Brecka, when I was, we did an event last year. It was one of the first ones that Gary spoke at. We did it with Brad Lee, my buddy in Vegas. Brad's got a new event space. He does the Dropping Bombs podcast. And he taught that morning. He talked about, he did Gary's got a photographic memory. So he reads something, it's there. He's the most brilliant guy I've ever been around in my life, hands down. And he was talking about a study that I think Harvard Medicine did about the electromagnetic frequencies that we emit as human beings. And he talked about this study, and he said the highest frequency we emit is the frequency of authenticity. And authenticity is when someone has a knowledge or a belief in a subject coupled with a great passion for a subject. So the highest frequency we emit is authenticity. the most sought after frequency from human beings is authenticity. And so when we get around authentic people, it's like, it's why like when I met Vic on the phone call, and then I went and spent 3 days with him a week and a half later at his place in Whitefish, Montana. And we're there, and he calls his wife FaceTimes on Sunday morning. I walk down, I do a Peloton ride in the garage, and I come in the kitchen. He's got, worship music playing throughout the speakers all in the house. He's got his house is insane there. And he's on a FaceTime call with his wife. He's sitting there reading his Bible at his kitchen island. And he's like, he introduced me to his wife, and he goes, "This is my new best friend. Like, we're twins. We look alike. We act alike. He just got a lot more money than I do." And that's why when you meet somebody like that, you're like, dude, this is my long lost brother, my long lost sister. It's because the level of authenticity is so high that the attraction is just there. And it's like you've known each other your whole life. You can't manufacture that. That only comes from the core of who you are as a human being when you meet another human being that has that same DNA.
I love this, Ken.
Come on,
I love this. So good. Okay, so we only have a couple minutes left, and I really appreciate that we were able to move through so much information and content and really extract a lot of wisdom from you. And so I really appreciate that. And if it's okay, let's hop into a couple rapid fire questions.
Shoot, let's go. I'm not too much rapid fire, but we'll try the rapid fire with you.
Okay, so you shared with us your list and all the gratitude. I'm curious outside of that, maybe it is just that, but what's something you do consistently every day?
Work out, do my quiet time.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't miss.
Love it. Is there a book that you have read more than once? Maybe you like to gift it?
Probably John's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Phenomenal. This book right here, this Happy Days book from Gabby Bernstein, unbelievable.
Yeah.
So good, so good. But probably John Maxwell's 21 Laws of Leadership. That's just that's probably the holy grail of leadership books, maybe outside of something Dale Carnegie or Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah. Ken, when you're a leader like you are, when you're out there sticking your neck out there, pushing and growing and building things, sometimes it can get tough, and we can get in situations where it feels like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. Is there any good advice that you've been given that really helped you in those critical moments?
Man, you better have great relationships, because those moments happen to everybody. And one of the things I mentioned earlier, I ended a 27-year marriage 2.5 years ago. Everything was final about 7 or 8 months ago, and it hit me hard. This was back in March, so 7-8 months ago. And I picked the phone up. I wasn't expecting it to be like it was. We had mediation on a Friday. The mediating attorney is like a 65-year-old country grandma who cusses a little. And she just asked me what happened, and I told her. I just started crying. I'm like, oh God, what's wrong with me? Like, she's like, no, it's okay. Well, I called my buddy Jeff out in Calabasas. I'm like, dude, man, this is hard, like hard. And I thought I had no idea it was going to hit me. And he goes, I'm sending you a plane ticket. You come spend some time with me. So I went out and I spent 9 days with him out in Calabasas at his house. And for the first 5 or 6 days, he wouldn't let me talk business at all. It was just me and him hanging out and talking and processing. And so whether it be personal, whether it be business, whatever it is, you better have some people in your corner that know you, that know everything about you, where there's no secrets. My friend Craig Rochelle pastors a huge church. I've known Craig for a long time. One of his quotes, he said probably 20 years ago, he said, "You're only as sick as your secrets." Like, somebody needs to know what's going on in the core of who you are as a human being.
Yeah.
And you better have some guys like that you can pick the phone up. Randy Garn texted me yesterday. Dude, how are you doing? Tell me what's going on in Ken's heart. Tell me some wins. What are you struggling with? Like, you better have some guys, because every single one of us, we have issues. We have things that I used to say this every Sunday at my church. Listen, welcome to Life Church. My name's Ken. I'm the lead pastor, but yada, 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 yada. Listen, if you don't think you have any issues, that's your issue.
Yeah.
Like, everybody has issues. Everybody. And the quicker you realize that, and you have people that you can communicate those issues with and have conversations, the quicker you're going to find healing, the quicker you're going to find your way through and to becoming the best version of who God intended you to be.
Ken, this has just been an incredible conversation. I really appreciate you bringing your heart, your wisdom, your love for God, your light, and all of your incredible experience and sharing with us these stories, these examples. And just want to thank you. For people who are looking for how to connect with you on social media, where are you most active?
Instagram at Ken Joslin, KenJoslin. Super easy. There's a bunch of fakes out there, so be careful.
There are fakes. I noticed that.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, Ken, thank you. And for everybody listening, this is What's Working Now.